They are the scheming trio of Cartoon Network's past, applying each other's strengths to good use. But on their own, who is the deadliest Ed? Ed, the muscle of the group. Ed, the brains of the bunch. And Eddy, the man with the plan. The rules of this fight? The Eds will only carry the standard equipment given to them in this show or in the games, since the Edzilla suit and Hypno Hat has only been used at least once or even just 2 times. I'm one fish mob, and it's my job to see who would win in a battle royale. Coming in first as the tallest of the trio is Ed. Ed is the brainless comic relief of the trio and acts as the muscle of the group, doing all the heavy lifting and even acting like heavy machinery at times. Due to him being the muscle of the group, he has immense strength, capable of ripping trees out of the ground and tearing slides out of their spot with his teeth. But the most he has ever lifted was a house with all of its contents still inside. If we do our math, we'll see that a house usually weighs 345,000 pounds, which means Ed's max strength limit is over 172.5 tons. But he usually has ways of using his strength. His main method of attacking is literally by using his head. Ed can smash his face into the ground hard enough to leave an impression, smash garbage cans and barrels, and instantly kill light enemies like savage squirrels. He can improve his attacks by putting a helmet on that allows him to smash through objects too hard for him to break. But the most feared ability comes when he is enraged. If angered or irritated, he will enter his Pebble in shoe state. So called because it first happened because Ed had a pebble in his shoe. He enters an enraged state and goes on a rampage that can result in massive destruction and possibly loss of life. And in this state, he can yell out hurricane strength yells and wins, strong enough to rip shirts off of a person like paper. This is definitely no pushover. He is the strongest Ed, is immune to the smell of the El Mongo stink bomb, which has sent an entire neighborhood into panic. Most unpredictable member of them all, and has proven problematic to the other Eds on multiple occasions. But there is a few flaws that hold him back. He literally has a brain the size of a pea and can easily be manipulated just by words. But still, Ed must muster all of his strengths to win this fight. Coming in as the second tallest of the trio is Ed, or Double D, as his friends call him. Ed is the brain of the trio, mostly the one to construct the scams from the ground up and to make sure they function correctly and nothing goes wrong. Despite still being in middle school, Ed is incredibly smart and resourceful, capable of calculating probabilities and can build pretty much anything out of anything. Like one time, he created a fully functional go-kart out of nothing but garbage from an alleyway. But in combat, he still needs tools to use. He uses a ruler, which he uses like a sword for close-range combat. And he can pull out his trusty slingshot, which is used as a sniper rifle to attack from a long distance. Ed definitely deserves no slack. He's the smartest Ed and has actually aided in more scientific scams successfully. But he suffers from one fatal flaw. He is the physically weakest Ed, tiring out quickly and can barely even lift a football. He can be incapacitated by foul odors, and he has a severe case of low self-esteem. But still, Ed's going to need to muster every last ounce of his brains he has to win this fight. Coming in last as the shortest of the trio is Eddy. Eddy is the leader of the group, leading them into and through many of their adventures, and is usually the first one to cause trouble. Eddy, being the self-proclaimed leader, is the most clever of the Eds. Eddy is the fastest and likes to play dirty. He uses words to manipulate or lie to others to do what he wants or just to make himself laugh. And over the years, he became a professional scammer. But his most devastating attack he has is the Rain of Riches. It's unknown of what will happen if it hits someone, but Eddy says it will throw your soul, although a normal melon rind will block it. In combat, Eddy will use a yo-yo as a medium-ranged attack, but if he needs to stun or make a quick getaway, he will use the El Mongo stink bombs. Unlike the much larger version his brother taught him how to make, the much smaller version of the stink bomb is unlimited and constantly renewable. The smell is apparently so bad it caused an entire neighborhood to go into sheer panic. Being the most clever of the Eds, Eddy has done many mischievous things over the years, even fooling the entire cul-de-sac on multiple occasions. But his greatest weakness is his cocky attitude, which gets him into more trouble than it needs to. This gets in the way of many of its scams as well, and allows them to fall apart rather easily, and he is really arrogant to a fault. But still, Eddy must muster all of his cleverness to win this fight.
Fight!
Oh yeah? Well, my ray of riches will throw your toes! Big trouble!
So why did Ed win? Ed, aka Double D, was the first to go, being the weakest of them all, leading it to a final confrontation between Eddy's cleverness and Ed's brute strength, both matching each other's rather well. But in the end, Ed was ultimately too unpredictable and too uncontrollable for Eddy's ego to comprehend. And when Ed went into his enraged state, it was just game over for Eddy. In the end, it looks like the trio is now called Ed, Dead, and Deddy. The winner is Ed.
Someone's always watching me.
He's tall and wears a suit of black, dressed like the perfect groom.